Tamar, Braxton, and Yandy Smith went from side glances to full-fledged battle in a matter of seconds, turning what was meant to be a normal day on set into complete turmoil, as the cameras were rolling and the lights were blinding. Whispers from behind the scenes shocked fans by revealing that although producers struggled to maintain control, voices were raised, tears were shed, and security hovered uneasily. What caused the explosion? And why did hostilities escalate so quickly? Insiders claimed that there was already a lot of unresolved tension, old grudges, and damaged egos in the air. Yandy kept her position, refusing to compromise on what she felt was her truth, while Tamar showed up on set clearly agitated, her tolerance already running low. Emotions were running high when the debate took an unexpected turn, and the fight turned into something nobody had anticipated. Tamar allegedly yelled, "Don't play with me," as cast members halted in shock and gasps reverberated across the set. In an effort to defuse the situation before it got out of hand, Mendeecees Harris tried to intervene at that point. However, he found himself totally shut down rather than acting as a peacemaker, and his presence simply served to stoke the flames. One voice cried, "Stay out of this," leaving the room astonished and the energy explosive. Alliances were called into question, emotions were revealed, and the distinction between real-life suffering and reality TV became increasingly hazy as the yelling grew louder. Nothing was the same when the dust had fallen. Fans were left with one unanswered issue. The family was split apart, and friendships were in jeopardy. Was this the point at which everything broke down? Everything changed as soon as the shouting reverberated across the set. Nobody anticipated how quickly the uneasy stillness would turn into an outright clash. For a little while, Tamar stood motionless, her jaw clenched and her eyes flaming as if she had finally lost all patience. Without flinching, Yandy crossed her arms. Years of disparaging remarks, ignored texts, and unspoken animosity that had been waiting for the right opportunity to surface made the air feel heavy and thick. Every movement, deep gasp, and blink that revealed how intimate this had gotten was captured by cameras that automatically zoomed in. "Don't try to talk over me," Tamar yelled in a shrill, trembling voice. "I've been silent long enough." The room echoed with gasps. A few actors squirmed in their seats in an uncomfortable way. Knowing they were seeing something that could not be altered, others leaned forward. Calm but obviously agitated, Yandy raised her chin. Silently, she retaliated. "You refer to being silent as throwing shade whenever you get the chance." Later, fans would claim that this was the precise time the room's temperature doubled. As the dispute intensified, producers exchanged anxious glances. Tension on reality TV wasn't lighthearted. This was genuine rage. With her hands flying and her voice raising with each phrase, Tamar walked back and forth. She questioned Yandy's character behind closed doors, accusing her of being phony and smiling in her face. Yandy didn't dispute it. Rather, she leaned forward and added, "If the shoe fits, maybe you should ask yourself why." Her statement was as subtle as a smack. The room fell hushed for a moment before everything erupted once more due to the intense emotions. Words mingled, voices overlapped, and all of a sudden the past was being pulled into the present. Backstage moments, private discussions, and old interviews were discarded like weapons. Tamar's voice broke as she described how she felt ignored and disregarded as a woman as well as an artist. Her eyes were moist as she added, "I fought too hard to be treated like this," holding back her emotions. Yandy shot back, "That respect goes both ways," he said, accusing Tamar of being the victim every time she faced criticism. It felt more like therapy gone wrong than a reunion, according to fans who watched it later. Mendeecees eventually got to his feet at that point. Everyone's attention was drawn to his chair as it scraped loudly on the floor. In an attempt to quiet the storm, he lifted his hands. "Yo, this is getting out of hand," he firmly stated. "Let's take a breath." The tension appeared to be about to release for a split second. However, it detonated even more forcefully. In an instant, Tamar whirled toward him. She yelled, "No, don't do that." Yandy trailed closely after, her voice piercing the room as she said, "Don't jump in now. This has nothing to do with you. Stay out of it." The shutdown was savage. Mendeecees froze, obviously taken off guard, and the room buzzed with shock. Videos of his bewildered visage went viral on the internet. "You care more about how this looks than how it feels," Tamar yelled, accusing Yandy of manipulating narratives and playing both sides for the cameras. "And you care more about drama than accountability," Yandy shot back without hesitation. Producers frantically waved from off-camera, signaling for a break, but nobody was listening. The argument had taken on a life of its own. Cast members whispered among themselves, some shaking their heads, others obviously enjoying the spectacle. As voices rose, security moved closer, prepared to intervene if things got physical. "Look at this," Tamar said, wiping her face. "Now I'm the problem," she said. The words were hidden deep. You could feel it in the room. This wasn't just one argument. It was about pride, respect, and years of unresolved tension finally demanding to be acknowledged. "You always do this," Yandy retorted, refusing to back down. "You explode, and then everyone else has to clean it up." The cameras caught every glare, scoff, and breath in between insults. The producers eventually called for a pause, but even as people stood up, the tension persisted. The family was split in that moment, with some cast members nodding along with Yandy's tough love stance and others silently supporting Tamar's raw emotion. "This is exactly what I'm talking about," Tamar muttered, raising her hands. "Every time I speak my truth, I'm the crazy one." Yandy remained seated, jaw clenched, staring straight ahead. Mendeecees stood awkwardly, hands on his hips, realizing that his attempt to help had only made things worse. Fans who watched later would say it felt like the calm before an even bigger storm because nothing had been resolved, and the anger was still burning, just beneath the surface waiting for the next spark. A producer spoke softly to try to calm her down, but Tamar waved her off, saying, "No, let them hear it. I'm done shrinking myself." Yandy sat stone-faced in the room, her arms folded tightly across her chest, staring at the floor for a moment before turning to face the producer closest to her. "I'm not apologizing for holding someone accountable," she said calmly, her eyes burning with emotion. "I didn't come here to be attacked." Cast members whispered around her, carefully selecting their comments because they were aware that sides were being drawn in real time. Mendeecees moved aside, rubbing his temples, obviously annoyed. "I was just trying to stop it from going left," he muttered to another cast member. "Now I'm the bad guy." Some nodded in agreement with Yandy, while others remained silent out of fear of getting caught in the crossfire. His voice was a mixture of embarrassment and rage. Everyone could see how his pride was damaged by being shut down in such a way on camera. Later, fans would repeatedly watch the video, arguing over whether he went too far or if the situation had just gotten too bad for anyone to step in. The energy was even darker when filming resumed. Tamar walked back onto the set slowly, her confidence hiding deep hurt. Yandy looked up as she entered, and for a moment there was silence. No music, no talking, just the hum of cameras and the weight of unfinished business. "Are we done pretending?" Tamar asked, her voice low but sharp. Yandy didn't flinch. "I'm not pretending anything," she replied. "I simply won't give up." "You smile in public and question me in private," Tamar remarked, accusing Yandy of using her platform to subtly undermine her. "That's worse than saying it to my face," she continued. The conversation resumed exactly where it had left off, but it was now colder and more calculated. Yandy responded by accusing Tamar of rewriting history. "You say things, then act surprised when people respond," she said. "That's not fair." Fans are shocked that moments like this weren't cut because it felt too real, too raw for reality TV. Yandy softened for half a second, then hardened again. Emotions ran high again, but this time the anger simmered instead of exploding, making it even more uncomfortable to watch. Finally, a cast member spoke up, trying to lighten the mood, but it only made things worse. Tamar snapped her head around and said, "Don't deflect. This isn't entertainment to me." "I hear you," she continued, "but it doesn't mean I agree with you." Tamar talked about feeling alone, about being judged differently, and about constantly having to defend her reactions instead of the actions that triggered them. Yandy countered with her own frustrations, saying she was tired of being labeled the villain for standing firm. The family was left divided, not only on set but online as early leaks spread and fans picked sides before the episode even aired. Mendeecees tried to speak again, slower this time, more cautiously. The back and forth dragged everyone into emotional exhaustion. He started, "Look, nobody's saying your feelings aren't valid." Tamar turned to face him right away. I warned her, don't, and the room froze. He stopped in mid-sentence, nodded, and sat back down. The silence that followed was deafening. It was obvious now that his role had changed from mediator to collateral. Damage in a war he hadn't started but couldn't escape. Tamar took a deep breath, clearly trying to steady herself. She stated, I came here to move forward, but I won't be disrespected. I won't be silenced to keep the peace. And Yandy responded just as firmly. Those two sentences hung in the air like a challenge, making it clear that no easy resolution was coming. Fans watching would later say that this was the moment they realized the situation was far from over. As filming came to an end for the day, there were no hugs, no smiles, no fake unity. Tamar left first, sunglasses on, head held high but shoulders tense. Yandy stayed behind, talking quietly with producers, her composure intact but clearly frustrated. The drama didn't end when the cameras stopped. Instead, it continued to grow louder in whispers, texts, and social media posts, setting the stage for an even bigger confrontation that nobody could walk away from. The fallout hit almost immediately. Phones buzzed nonstop as clips leaked online, fan pages dissecting every glare and pause frame by frame. Tamar sat in her trailer, scrolling through comments, her expression shifting between anger and disbelief. See, this is what I mean, she said. When you're silent, they adore you. But as soon as you speak, they turn against you. Tamar shook her head at a close friend's attempt to comfort her, saying, This isn't about fans. This is about respect. Yandy was on the phone down the hall, speaking in a calm, low voice. I'm not apologizing for being honest, she firmly stated. She hung up the phone, let out a deep breath, and leaned back in her chair, saying, If that makes me the villain, so be it. Cracks appeared for the first time. She blinked away the fleeting sparkle in her eyes. A producer inquired about her well-being. I'm fine, she said hastily. Word quickly spread among the cast. I just didn't expect it to go that far. Alliances started to change. Tamar, in the opinion of some, had finally uttered what everyone was scared to say. Others said Yandy was correct to defend herself. The cosmetics room was packed with whispers, and changing rooms became centers of planning. One cast member whispered, This is bigger than the show. This is private. Even among those who weren't directly involved, emotions were running high. The tension was evident when filming resumed the following day. With a tight smile and restrained energy, Tamar entered with a feigned calm. A few moments later, Yandy came in, self-assured but aloof. The stillness between them was louder than any quarrel, even if they avoided making eye contact. In the hopes of a breakthrough, producers urged them to get together. Instead, they encountered yet another slow-moving conflict. Tamar whispered, I want clarity, which in some way heightened the intensity. Without hesitation, Yandy said, Say it to my face. What's the real issue? She answered, The real issue is accountability. Tamar laughed, but it wasn't funny. You say whatever you want, then act hurt when people react. And you conceal yourself by being genuine. She shot back while passing judgment on everyone else. The speed at which the discussion veered back into perilous area has stunned fans. Mendeecees remained silent while observing from the side with his jaw tight. Clearly, the prior stoppage persisted. He appeared to be a man carefully considering each word before speaking. When he did, he spoke in a cautious tone. Maybe both things can be true, he muttered. Tamar looked at him, then aside. Maybe there's hurt on both sides. Yandy gave a small nod but remained silent. The room seemed to be suspended, as if a single incorrect word could set everything off once more. Deeper confessions replaced accusations throughout the debate. Tamar talked about years of feeling disregarded in the field, because she was called difficult, rather than passionate. She broke her voice and said, I'm tired, weary of battling to be heard. Some were unprepared for the vulnerability. After listening with an unreadable expression, Yandy answered honestly. She said, I carry everything. I'm expected to always be strong by others. Nobody inquires about the weight of that. It appeared for a split second that empathy would prevail. The space grew softer. Later on, even viewers acknowledged that they held their breath. However, a casual remark later reopened the wound. Tamar brought up loyalty. Yandy tensed up. Don't question mine, she snapped. Half of what I safeguard is unknown to you. In an instant, the temperature rose. Whatever gains had been gained disappeared. Once more, there were crisp, controlled, cutting voices that left scars instead of screaming ones. Members of the cast shifted uneasily. Some stared at the ground, while others seemed unable to take their eyes off the screen. Everyone concerned was worn out by the emotional whiplash that caused the family to split up once more. The producers disagreed over ending the scene, but there was no denying its wrongness. Social media erupted after that. Supporters took strong sides. Hashtags became popular. Overnight, think pieces surfaced. Tamar was hailed by others for her bravery and honesty. She was accused by others of being a victim. Some praised Yandy for her steadfastness, while others condemned her for her lack of compassion. Fans questioned whether Mendeecees should have intervened at all, and he also faced unanticipated criticism. The drama had gotten away from the set and started living on its own. Conversations went on behind closed doors. Tamar wondered if she really wanted to continue being involved. "This isn't healthy," she informed a close friend. Meanwhile, Yandy was concerned about the way the story was developing. "No matter what I say, it's twisted," she said. Despite feeling attacked, misled, and exhausted, neither woman was prepared to give up. Nothing had been resolved by the end of the day. The lines were, if anything, drawn more deeply. The looks were more icy. The tension was higher than before, yet the words were selected more deliberately. Even through the television, fans could feel it. This was no longer only a personality conflict. Pride, suffering, and perception collided. And everyone was aware that the next conflict would be difficult since too much had already been said, and too much remained to be revealed. The next altercation did not initially take place in front of the cameras. It began discreetly in nooks and crannies, in private talks and text messages that were never intended to be disclosed. But in this world, nothing remains private for very long. Tamar discovered that she was mentally reliving every second, every statement she made, and every glance Yandy gave her. The burden of speaking up weighed heavily on her chest, even though she assured herself she didn't regret it. "I'm always the strong one," she said to her sister over the phone. Yandy, however, was struggling with a different type of annoyance. "But nobody sees how tired I am." She felt chastised for not diluting her facts and assaulted for being truthful. Late that evening, she questioned Mendeecees. "Why do I always have to be the bigger person? Why is strength primarily valued in peaceful situations?" His words were like landmines as he listened intently. He remarked, "Maybe you too are in pain." Yandy let out a sigh. "Perhaps. However, this does not make things right." The tension had grown into something more intense by the time the cameras were back up. It was no longer explosive. It was computed. There was intent in every statement. Each pause had a purpose. Tamar moved calmly, her feelings buried away behind studied self-assurance. Yandy greeted everyone in a kind and professional manner, but there was no denying the distance. Later, viewers reported that it resembled two queens circling one another, neither of them willing to blink. Calmly, perhaps deceptively so, the conversation began. Tamar talked about setting limits and wanting to stop being misinterpreted. She said, "I'm not asking to be pampered. I'm requesting respect." Yandy gave a slow nod. "Respect also entails responsibility," she retorted. Additionally, that chat can be awkward at times. Emotions surged once more, but not through yelling but rather through the weight of spoken realities. This time, Mendeecees remained silent, clearly picking up on his previous lessons. However, his silence spoke a lot. Tamar looked at him and hesitated. She remarked, "You seem like you want to say something." In an instant, the room stiffened. After pausing, he spoke cautiously. He replied, "I just think we're all reacting from hurt, and everything is amplified by hurt." This time, no one rejected him, but no one also welcomed what he had to say. Unresolved, they hung in midair. Then the unexpected turn of events occurred. Comments made off camera weeks prior were brought up by a producer. This conflict didn't even begin on set, according to statements. Tamar tensed up. Yandy squinted. The argument abruptly changed from emotions to receipts. What was stated by whom, when, and to whom? Once more, accusations flowed. Tamar thought personal issues had been turned into a weapon and felt deceived. Yandy thought her motives had been misinterpreted and felt vulnerable. The story broke out even more, shocking fans. The silence broke as voices swelled again. "This is exactly what I mean," Tamar replied. "You never want to acknowledge your role in it." So Yandy retaliated, saying, "Things get twisted and I'm painted like the problem." There was a hum of unease in the room. Members of the cast moved, some muttering that there was no way to fix this. With each conversation, the family's divisions grew more pronounced. As feelings reached their peak, an unforeseen event occurred. Tamar paused in the middle of his words. She lowered her shoulders a little,